How's it going, my truant people? DrSlaking, the Slacking Doctor, back for week 6 of IBL, I believe. And this week we're going up against my man OPJellicent and his Toronto Leaf Storms, I believe is his team name. And if you guys don't know who OPJellicent is or whatever, then I definitely recommend checking out his channel. The link will be down in the description. Before we get into anything else, I'm going to be a little bit self-indulgent here, so excuse me taking a little moment. But this was a pretty big week for me in the IBL. This was probably one of the biggest matches I've ever had in the Draft League community. Not because of what it meant. Yes, we're 3-2 going into this game, so we wanna keep going positive. We don't want to break even. Yes, OPJellicent is undefeated, and so we would like to end a second undefeated streak this season after ending mids. But more than that, this is probably the first time I think in the Draft League community that I'm getting to play someone that I was a subscriber of before ever meeting them, that I genuinely watch all of their videos. I'm a very big fan, so I'm going to take a little fanboy moment here because this is huge. Like this was a big deal for me. I was so excited to get to play somebody that I've been watching for quite a while now and that I really enjoy his content. So that's my little self-indulgent ramble over. With that in mind, you'll have to cut me a little bit of slack because I was pretty nervous going into this game. And before we get into this one, I really need to give a huge shout out to Checkmate Ben and Stromful for building my team this week. They were so helpful. For those of you that watch a lot of the content on the channel, you'll know that I've been on holiday for about 10 days recently. I was away, and that really affected a lot of the content on the channel. I feel like I've been talking about it in every bloody video. But yeah, basically I wasn't able to build my team for this week, so Checkmate Ben and Stromful built sort of together, and then Stromful gave me a mock as well so that I could tweak the team slightly, and possibly actually the one tweak that I made the team worse, arguably, so there we go. But regardless, thank you to them for sorting out the team. Quickly running you through the team, what we have here. We have a leftovers fast bulky Tapu Koko with Volt Switch, Hidden Power, Ice, Defog and Roost. We have a mixed expert Belt 4 attacks Gren. We have a physically defensive Conkeldurr designed to take on the Megalopony and the Weavile. Otherwise, Weavile really put in a lot of work against me, so that's why Conkeldurr came with 4 attacks as well. Leftovers and Iron Fist. And then we have a fully Spadef AV Rotom. I think this was designed to kind of help out with things like the Thundurus here, and potentially the Reuniclus as well, and the Empoleon too, I guess. Then we have a kind of mixed defensive Gligar, if I'm remembering correctly, with knockoff Earthquake, U-turn, and Toxic. No, knockoff, Toxic, U-turn, and Roost, sorry. And then last up we have a 4 attacks Mega Pinsir, which Checkmate put a really, or I don't know if it was him or Stromful, one of them put a really cool tech on it. Actually, it was Checkmate, I think, put a really cool tech with Feint, because Feint can still get the Aerial 8 boost and out-prioritize Lopunny's Quick Attack. If you don't know, Feint has a higher priority bracket than Quick Attack, higher priority bracket than Extreme Speed as well, actually, Feint does. So that was really cool tech, so we could try and beat a Quick Attack Mega Lopunny. And that's the team, so yeah, I have to give a huge thank you to them. Now, before we get into this one, I just say this was a really long battle. We both had to play this game with the timer in mind because I think we were kind of like 35 minutes in and still pretty much at 6-6 or something crazy. Like, this was a really long game. Now, spoilers, it didn't go to timer. We did manage to establish a winner in the regular time, but because of that, there are a lot of patient and probing plays here, a lot of positioning. In my opinion, this was one of the best games we've had on the channel for a while, especially from my perspective, playing against an undefeated coach with a team that I didn't build. I felt like I brought a better game than I expected myself to here. So, without wasting any more of your time, let's jump into the battle. I decided to lead off with Tapu Koko here because it is fast and it is relatively bulky, so it doesn't actually lead badly against anything. I can scout for a Scarf on Landorus if he kind of stays in or whatever, or potential Yachi Berry, things like that. I can scout for, I can get a lot of chip off on Lopunny or potentially just give it a free pivot into Conkeldurr and things like that. This is pretty much the only thing I don't lead that well against. This is Goodra. Now I'm expecting this to probably be AV, and I'm guessing he predicted this lead from me, which makes perfect sense. So I'm just going to Volt Switch out here. I don't think he'll be faster than me. If he was Scarf Goodra, that definitely would have caught me off guard. But I'm just going to Volt out into my Gligar. I'm not really sure exactly what I was supposed to take this thing on with, but I didn't want to get my Rotom 1 down super early, because obviously it is Assault Vest that has no means of recovery. So I was like, okay, we'll go Gligar, and we can probably roost off anything he wants to do. That doesn't do too much as he goes for the Dragon Pulse on a Tapu Koko, by the way. So I've seen straight away that he's playing ballsy from the off, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into my Greninja. I think he'll either switch out fearing like a Toxic or something, or he'll fire off an Ice Beam if he has it. And he switches out, and that gives me two pieces of information. One, he probably doesn't have Ice Beam on his Goodra, which really surprised me, or he's trying to bluff that he doesn't. And two, more importantly, that I'm actually faster than his Goodra, and what that means is I can roost in front of his Goodra, lose my flying typing, and then if he does have Ice Beam and he's trying to pretend he doesn't, he won't be 4 times effective anymore. It'll only be 2 times effective, which is really, really crucial. It means I probably can roost up on his Goodra always. So that's really, really nice information there. Unless I get frozen, of course. But that was just why I made that play into Gren. Here, I think he has to fear Scarf, so I'm going to U-turn. And if he doesn't, then I'm guessing it's because he's Scarf as well. Or sorry, if he doesn't switch out there, it's because he's Scarf. Sorry. Now, obviously, I'm not Scarf. So he would be able to call my bluff if he was, but like I say, I don't think he can risk the Lando anyway, just fearing Scarf Gren, and I want to keep it in his head that I am potential Scarf Gren, again, because he's seen me scout for the Ice Beam, right, so he might expect me to scout for Scarf Lando if I'm not Scarf Gren, so I'm kind of like bluffing Scarf here, and I'm just going to U-turn, so I expect the Goodra to come out on the potential Ice Beam. It would have bounced off AV Goodra, which I'm almost certain this is at this point from the calcs and stuff, and we get the U-turn off as he reads to be Gooey, not Sap Sipper, which is interesting, but not that important. And now I'm going to go back out into Batfink, because we've already seen this thing can't really do too much to me. He's going to have to withdraw again, fearing the Toxic or whatever, but I'm actually just going to go straight for the U-turn, no, the knock, I believe, trying to get rid of his AV. I'm like, if I can get rid of this thing's AV, I'll be able to chip it down so much faster. Unfortunately, he obviously fears that or a Toxic or something along those lines, so he does switch out, and the Landorus comes in. But from that Rocky Helmet, I'm guessing it's defensive Landorus, and I think I'll probably outspeed him. So I just go for the Roost here, as I've seen I already outspeed his Goodra and stuff. I have got some speed on this Gligar, but actually he outspeeds me, so that caught me off guard a little bit. I thought that way if he had a Hidden Power Ice, I would be able to Roost it off and be fine. I didn't think he would have Hidden Power Ice, realistically. I didn't think this thing would be able to touch me. But here, I'm just going to go for the U-turn because I guarantee to get momentum. If he goes for U-turn, which he does, I'm slower. We've already seen that, so it will give me the slow pivot rather than him getting momentum, which seems really important to me. Actually, no, I'm telling you a lie. I go for the Toxic because I want to wear down the Landorus. The U-turn comes later. You'll have to bear with me. There are a lot of turns here. So yeah, I go for the Toxic, sorry, because I'm like, okay, if I can wear down this Lando, that would be brilliant. If he goes back into Goodra, now he's got his rocks up. Maybe that's what he's thinking. I can get the Goodra poisoned, but he actually goes into Reuniclus, and I'm like, that's fine. Getting this thing's Toxic is fantastic because I get to see there that he is Regenerator, not Magic Guard, and I'm like, that's so awesome. Being able to chip down this thing is fantastic. And I'm just now going to pivot out into Koko because I want to get rid of those rocks if I can. And this thing shouldn't be able to do too much to me, so I just really want to try and chip him down as he actually goes for the knock here, and I'm like, okay, I did think that was a possibility the way he brought it on Gligar to try and get rid of my Violite, because he seems to have some trouble breaking my Gligar, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. And again, this was the thing that didn't care about losing its items most, I guess, because I had leftovers on Koko, but Koko isn't supremely bulky, so maybe it's mostly just helping with Rock's chip. Here I go for Hidden Power Ice, because if I can catch the Lando coming in, it's fantastic. If the Goodra comes in, it's more chip than Volt Switch would have done, and I can still Volt Switch on him anyway, because I'm faster, and Gligar can always come in on this thing now. I'm confident and roost off anything that he does to me, so it's like I may as well go for Hidden Power Ice and try and catch the Lando and at least chip down the Goodra a little bit more. 2 turns of chip is better than 1, right? So we go out into Batfink as he goes for the Dragon Pulse again, and because we kept Batfink really healthy, this pretty much bounces off, and I'm like, okay, we're in a pretty good spot. Again, I know that I outspeed him with my Roost, so I can just go for a Roost. Do I go for a Roost or a U-turn here? I think I actually go for the U-turn here, because I know I can take another Dragon Pulse after Rocks, and I'm like, I don't want to lose momentum. I don't want to lose any momentum. This thing's actually kind of hard for me to switch in to, so I want to make sure that I keep pressuring it. Here I'm going to go into Foghorn Leghorn, Tapu Koko, because I know that I can take any one hit from this thing, and I can just roost it off. So I'm going to go for the Defog here. Because he's Regenerator and we didn't see like a Life Orb on the knockoff or anything, I know that he's not too strong. He's not going to be like Specs knockoff or anything. So he goes for the Psychic, and brings us pretty low, but I've got rid of rocks, so I'm happy because that means the Gligar isn't getting chipped down as badly, and it means that my Mega Pinsir can come in. Mega Pinsir is my win con in this game, really, so I want to keep those rocks off. And here I'm going to Roost because, one, I'm not sure if he'll KO me depending on what he goes for, but two, I don't think he can let in my Gren for free and let his Reuniclus get so low as to take Toxic Chip. I honestly thought he would switch out there, but he does make the read on the Gren and go for the Energy Ball. I thought it would either be a read or a switch out. Like, I didn't think he could ever just attack. And the same goes to this turn here. I'm going to Roost again. At the end of the day, if he ends up killing my Coco but lets his Reuniclus drop to Toxic Chip, my Conkeldurr just goes in. So I'm like, okay, if he wants to play it that way, then we'll play it that way. I'll just keep Roosting, keep Coco at a good range of health, and it means that I can defog again later. I don't want to lose this thing unless I get a piece from him in exchange that's valuable. And Reuniclus is definitely a valuable piece for me to take, as I say, for the Conkeldurr. And here, like I say, whenever Goodra comes in, it's a free Volt into Batfink. We've got rid of the rocks, so he can go for his Dragon Pulse. Here I'm kind of forced to Roost, which sucks because it means he can get in Lando and he can get his rocks up, but it means that I can keep Batfink at a good range of health, which seems really, really important for this Goodra, because like I said, even though he looks like he's an infested Goodra, I know he's going to have Earthquake and other coverage moves, so, and that AV just makes it so damn hard to kill, so here I'm going to go for the Roost, and you might wonder why at some point I haven't just got in my Pinsir on that Goodra. I miscalced during this game. I was calcing regular Pinsir's returns and couldn't figure out how the hell Goodra could be so Spidef and so Fizdef. That was just me being an idiot. I wasn't calcing the Aerialate and Stab Boost off Mega Pinsir's returns. So, but here, if he's going to go for the rocks, I don't mind it because, as you see, I'm able to get the Toxic off on the Lando and wear it down, which is fantastic for Mega Pinsir. It means his Intimidator is now on a timer. So again, this was the other reason that I didn't mind letting him get his rocks back up, because when he did that, it forced him to let me Toxic his Lando, which is, I think, going to be crucial in the long game here. And already you can see by how patient we're both playing, this is going to be a long game. This is going to be a game where we both just chip away at each other and we fight for the best positioning we can get. And he goes here on my U-turn. We were always going to U-turn. This is where I said about getting the slow U-turn. I knew that I undersped him, and I didn't want him to get the momentum, so I didn't go for the Roost there. I went for the U-turn. And he goes into the Empoleon. Now, Empoleon's a bit of a problem for me. I can go into my Mega Pinsir and I can click Close Combat or Earthquake, but I don't know if he's Shooker. I don't remember. I had an Earthquake on this set, actually, I think. So I don't know if he's Shooker. I can go into Rotom Mow and click Discharge. I don't know if he's Wakan. I can go into Coco and click Volt Switch. I don't know anything about this set right now, so I'm just like, I need to try and find out his item. I need to try and get some information. So here I'm just going to Volt. One of the problems I'm finding at this point in the game is that we don't have hazards and he does, and it's becoming quite obnoxious that we are getting chipped down in this switchy game by his hazards, but I just can't get them back on his side of the field because I don't have any, unfortunately. But we do pop his Wakan there, and it's like, okay, I could never risk Pinsir because Pinsir was, like I say, the win con in this game, and I don't want to see Rotom get too chipped down, but here I'm going to have to go into Rotom because I don't actually have great switch-ins to this Empoleon. I could have gone Greninja here and gone for the low kick, but I didn't want to take too much chip on Greninja, and Rotom was always going to eat this up. Now, I should really have calced that damage, but I didn't bother because it did minuscule damage. Had I calced it, I would have seen that this Empoleon was fairly offensive. I didn't even calc my Volt Switch damage particularly. I saw that he wasn't Spidef, so I thought he was probably like Fizdef or something. It didn't really enter my mind that he might be like offensive Empoleon, which he was slightly, so that was interesting. But here I just go for the Discharge. I'm confident I'll outspeed the Goodra because my Gligar outspeeds the Goodra, so as I say, it's just extra chip and then a Volt Switch. May as well do it. There's nothing to lose there. If he goes Lando, I've got Hidden Power Ice for the Lando, so as I say, it's just a no drawback play there, really going for the Discharge into the Volt Switch. We get Batfink in, and like I say, we can still take the Rocks chip. We're a good enough range of health to live the Dragon Pulse, and we're just trying to play really, really patient here. I believe I'm going to go for the Roost again, keeping this thing at a good range of health. The Lopunny comes in, but at the minute I still have a full health Conkeldurr, so whilst I completely understand why he makes the play into Lopunny, it looks like his best breaker against my team, and I'm sure he's delighted to finally have it in on the battlefield. For me, I've got to scout for the Ice Punch, right? I've got to be careful for that, so I have to go COLIN, but COLIN's built to take this thing on, so I'm like, that's okay. I can go COLIN, rocks don't really hurt me. If he goes for an Ice Punch, it's going to absolutely bounce off, then I get leftovers recovery, and I know there's no way he's going to give me his Lopunny this early in the game, so I can make an aggressive play on whatever's coming in. But he actually goes for the sub, and I'm like, oh, That's a little bit annoying because he's going to find out a little bit more about my set now than I kind of would like. I wish he wouldn't know I was physically defensive, for example, but now he's going to find out a little bit more, so he's just going to go straight for the high jump kick. I mean, I guess if he'd attacked straight up with the ice punch, he would have found that out anyway, to be fair. But yeah, I'm just going to go for the drain punch. There's no point in me muck punching or anything. I get more by drain punching and at least recovering whatever I can get from his sub, which isn't a lot. But it all adds up, right? Along with the leftovers recovery and stuff, it all adds up. So we get a little bit of recovery off that, and then we get a little bit of recovery off lefties. And now I know he has to switch out, so I'm going to get another turn of lefties. I could make an aggressive double, but I don't know if he's going Lando or if he's going Reuniclus. I go for the knock because it guarantees to get damage on either, and I don't reveal the ice punch yet. Unfortunately, he does go Lando, so the knock is going to bounce off this Landorus because we're nearly uninvested. But it's okay because he's still poisoned, so he's still going to take chip. If I could have knocked off the Reuniclus and get rid of what I suspect is a Colbur Berry, then that would have been fantastic, but it's fine. It doesn't really hurt. And here I'm going to stay in because I'm like, there's no way he lets me go Gligar here. He knows that my Gligar is so free against him. If he lets me go Gligar like an Earthquake, and then I U-turn the next turn, I get all the momentum. So I know that OPJellicent is too good of a player to ever Earthquake here. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to double knock off because if he U-turns out with this thing, there's nothing he can switch. You can't switch in on a Conkeldurr with an Empoleon or a Mega Lopunny or even a Thundurus because I could be clicking Ice Punch to cast Shalando. So the only thing you can switch in is the Reuniclus, and I'm going to double knock to get rid of that thing's Colbur because I'm fairly sure he's got the Colbur on it. And that means that my Grent will then be able to kill it later in the game and I won't have to worry about it living one and energy balling me. So I'm just going to go straight for the knock. Do a lot of damage, really, really nice damage, and we gauge that, and it's like, okay, that's decent. He actually has the AV, which is why that did so much. So I was like, okay, so we've got rid of his AV, really, really nice. Means that Coco is going to be able to chip it down a lot more with Volt Switch. It means that Rotom Mow, which is coming in right now, is going to be able to chip it down a lot more with its attacks. So it's just a really, really good turn for me getting rid of his Assault Vest there, and definitely the right place staying in with Conkeldurr. We got the little bit of U-turn chip back with lefties anyway. Rotom Mow is getting chipped down now, and I'm getting worried about that Thundurus in the back. But I'm just going to have to deal with that when I deal with that, right? At the minute, I'm guessing that he could even be Scarf Thundurus, and if he's not, then Gren always revenge kills it anyway. And Gren's looking really good in this game at this point. I should say that because I know that he's Narf Scarf Lando. This Shalnark, this Goodra, is nearly in Ice Beam range, right? The Thundurus, if it's not Scarf, is in Ice Beam range, I'm pretty sure, all the time. If it's not Yachi, of course. The Landorus I know isn't Yachi because I've knocked off its Rocky Helmet. That's slower than me. I know it's not Scarf. I can Ice Beam that. The Reuniclus now I know isn't Colbur. I can Night Slash that. So I'm just in the Empoleon I have Low Kick for. So I'm looking at Goodra and I'm like, okay, Goodra just pretty much wins at this point, barring the Mega Lopunny and Scarf Thundurus. And if it's Scarf Thundurus, all I need to do is keep my Gligar alive and he can't lock into electric moves and sweep me. And we're going to come down to some predictions. So keeping Bosch at a little bit of health is helpful. But I realize that Gligar plus Gren is kind of the win cons off the information I have. Here I go for the U-turn. I could have roosted, but I didn't think he would ever stay in here. I was like, he's not going to let me Toxic him, he's not going to let me knock off because this thing's way too valuable to him. So I just go straight for the U-turn, which kind of sucks because now my Gligar's not as healthy as I could have been. I could have roosted up on this thing for free. And I'm going to go out into Bosch because I can't bank on him taking a Dragon Pulse. If he's made the aggressive play here and Earthquaked, I can't go Coco. Coco's still so valuable for defogging. I need to get rid of those hazards for my Pinsir at some point. So I have to go into Bosch here, and here I make a bit of a misplay. I go for the Hidden Power Ice because I'm like, I'm so tired of this Goodra, let's put it low, and this is where my impatience comes in, and that was a misplay. What I should have done is I should have just Volt Switched straight back into Gligar. I could have taken this, and I could have roosted up. I always should have gone Gligar there, and that way I would preserve the Rotom as a sack in the back. Now, as it happens, this won't matter, and I'll explain why. But here I'm going to go into Gren. Again, another little bit of a misplay by me. I think I should have gone into Pinsir because it doesn't let the Lopunny in, and I could have pivoted around better, and I could have still killed the Goodra. So that was a little bit of a mistake by me. I just didn't want to take 25% from rocks, but you know, that happens. And now you see this is the problem the Lopunny's in, and I would have sacked the Rotom here to rocks, And that's why I said I should have preserved Rotom, because I would have just sacked it to rocks. But as it happens, he actually goes for the high jump kick and misses. So my misplay with Rotom aids me, because had I sacked Rotom to rocks, high jump kick doesn't work like that. He wouldn't have then crashed and taken the recoil. It would have just said, like, he used high jump kick, but it failed or something, right? So he wouldn't have taken the recoil. So actually, my misplay combined with my good fortune here really helps me out. So I apologized to him in DMs after the battle, and I'll say it again in this video. I genuinely apologize for the high jump kick that missed there, because I should have been punished, really, for my misplay, and Colin should have been really low here. But he actually withdraws, and I click the Ice Punch this time because I don't think he's going to let me double knock into his Reuniclus, but he does go into Reuniclus, and I'm like, damn, it was just a bit of a 50-50 there, what he went into, and it looks to me as though, from what I've seen of this Reuniclus, Ice Punch into knockoff with Toxic Chip is going to kill him, so I'm like, okay, this is hard to say, but I think knock will kill from here, so I just go for the knock, and he lives on a Slither, and I spoke to him after the game, and I think he said that this was 4 HP, so... and he goes for the Psychic, and the reason that I knocked off is because, I didn't think, even if I killed him, I didn't think he would Psychic. I thought he would Energy Ball again on the Gren. I didn't think he would want to let Gren in for free again, because if Gren comes in for free, he pretty much has to choose a sack, right? I can click Ice Beam and pretty much claim one. Lopunny's pretty low. This would die to an Ice Beam. If he goes into the Empoleon, then he has to pivot into the Landorus on a potential low kick, and if he goes into Landorus on the low kick, then I can Ice Beam, and basically it just puts him in this spot where if I get Gren in at this point against his team, he is just constantly pivoting around defensively. So I get that turn completely wrong, because he makes the good solid play, goes for the Psychic, gets the roll to live. Now, I don't know if that knockoff was a roll, but I'm sure the Ice Punch into the knockoff together was some kind of roll, and I just got it a bit wrong. He does drop to poison damage, which is fantastic, but it's useless to me because my Conkeldurr's dead, right? The only reason I wanted Reuniclus breaking was for my Conkeldurr. All of my other mons beat Reuniclus 1v1 nearly, so like I really don't gain much from that turn at all. I just lose my best Lopunny check. So here I have to go Meta B, because if he goes Lopunny, everything else dies. I guarantee to take a return or a high jump kick. I don't know if he has Ice Punch, but I should take one of those as well. So I'm just going to fire off the return. There's no reason for me to do anything else. And this week I managed to get my happiness done properly, thank God. So I am able just to fire off a big return into his Mancini. And this thing goes down to like 50%. And here I'm really torn. I'm really, really torn here, because basically, if I lose Pinsir, I can't beat Lopunny. If I lose Pinsir, Lopunny wins. Now, he doesn't know that. Because he might still think that I'm Scarf Greninja, like I've been bluffing, right? I haven't revealed any information about my Greninja other than I was willing to keep it in on a Lando I knew nothing about. So, if I lose this, Lopunny outspeeds everything, and assuming he gets the roll, it's a roll on Coco, but assuming he gets the roll on Coco, he beats my whole team with Lopunny at this point. Lopunny just sweeps if I don't have my Mega Pinsir. So, I'm in a really tough spot, because if I double back into my Gligar here, which is what I want to do, and he goes Lopunny, then I'm in a really, really bad spot, because again, I'm sacking something to Lopunny and I haven't got rocks down, so Mega Pinsir has to come back in on rocks and go down to 25%, and then it can't come back in on rocks ever again. So I'm in a really, really tough spot here where I'm like, I don't know how I can win from here, right? I don't know what I can do. So here, what I'm going to do is, he's been playing safe, and I think that means he'll Thunderbolt here. He's been playing fairly safe all game. He hasn't made too many, other than with his Goodra, he hasn't made too many aggressive plays. But he makes a phenomenal play. And I really believe this was like his best play, absolutely. And I respect him for having the balls to make it, frankly. And he doubles into Lopunny. Because if I returned again there and killed his Lopunny, I win the game. Gren just cleans up pretty much. Combination of Bat and Gren clean up, I think, because I don't think even if he's Scarf Thundy, he can lock into anything to win the game. And Coco can beat the Thundy as well if he's not Scarf. So phenomenal double by him, because now we're in the exact position I just said, where I basically have to bring Pinsir in, sack something here, bring Pinsir in, and then I have to try and win. So here my play is always to sack my Gligar, but actually I live, and I just fire off the U-turn. I'm like, okay, that's fine, because I've kept my sack fodder in the back. So I'm like, okay, maybe I've still got a shot. Maybe if I can get a defog off somewhere. So I'm like, can I go Coco? No, because it's a roll, and I don't want to risk the roll. So I have to go Pinsir. And here, like, if he doubles out into something else to take the quick attack, well, I'm guessing his fourth move, because he hasn't got the Ice Punch. He clearly hasn't got it from the fact he went for a return there. If he hasn't got the Ice Punch, he's sub, return, high jump kick. If he hasn't got the Ice Punch, then he must have quick attack. That's what I'm telling myself. He hasn't clicked fake out at all, so he must have quick attack. But I don't know. I really don't know. So here I'm going to go for the feint, because I've got to hope that he stays in and goes for the quick attack. That's my best shot, that he goes for the quick attack here. I'm trying to tempt him. I'm trying to bait him into the quick attack. But he knows he doesn't need to do that. He knows all he needs to do is force my pincer back out and never let me defog. And then he wins the game, assuming I'm not Scarf Gren. So here I just go for the feint, reveal the tech as he goes into Lando, and now I know, okay, he's never gonna stay in with the Lopunny. I've got to get rid of the rocks, but he's never gonna stay in with the Lopunny, so I have to be really careful here. So I'm just gonna go into Batfink and try and sack it so that I can get my Coco in on this Lando. And just spam defog and just get rid of the rocks, because I'm hoping that he will fear the HP Ice and switch out with this Lando if I go into Coco here. I've shown him that I've got HP Ice. I clicked it on the Goodra. I'm hoping that he'll want to preserve his Intimidate, but I decide against that. I decide to go Gren, and this was a massive misplay. I literally was always planning. I was like, okay, I sack the bat, I go into Gren, I click the whatever, but for some reason I went into Greninja and I clicked Ice Beam. I got scared that he would just spam rocks until he died, bring in Lopunny, and then I would be back to square one, which would have been awful for me, and that would have won him the game too. Here I should have just low kicked, but I got excited because I thought here he would go Lopunny. I was like, this is going to be Lopunny, but he fears me being Scarf. My bluff worked earlier and he goes into the Empoleon, and I'm like, well, that's kind of useful still. The fact that he still fears I'm Scarfed is kind of useful. I can go for the low kick here and I can kill this thing. But then that means he knows I'm not Scarf anymore. He can come into Lopunny, and I haven't defogged, and that means it's a roll for him to kill my Coco, and my Coco comes in against the Lopunny, and I'm back to square one. So I don't gain that much if I low kick here. I'm banking on him either missing a high jump kick or me getting a roll with my Coco. So I'm like, that's not my play. My play is always go hard Coco. I think I'll take one from this Empoleon. Now, like I said, I didn't run any calcs. I didn't calc how much damage Empoleon was doing to my Bosch earlier. So I go Coco, and I'm like, I'm going to live one, I'm going to defog, and we're going to win the game. This is it. The combination of Pinsir and Greninja, I think, are going to win this game for me. As he goes for the agility, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's not the end of the world. All I have to do is defog here, and I can still win, right? I think I can still win. I can still go into Gren and take one. Nope, this is an offensive Empoleon as far as I can tell, and the Surf just straight up kills my Coco. I go into Gren because I'm like, okay, I'm pretty much playing off and missing a high jump kick at this point. I've just got a low kick here. He's got to like miss his attack with Lopunny or something. I don't know. I don't even know at this point. But he's got the Grass Knot and it straight up KOs. And that is game because Pinsir is going to die to rocks. And I get swept by an Empoleon, an agility Empoleon. After I saw the Wakan and no weakness policy, I was confident this thing would not be agility. So I didn't bother calcing to see if it was offensive Empoleon. And that was a big mistake by me. So we end up going down 3-0 in a game that did not feel like a 3-0 to me. I don't know if it does it play at the end or is it just black screen. There we go, that's what I wanted. Yeah, we ended up going down 3-0 in a game that really didn't feel like a 3-0 to me. In my opinion, that was a down to the wire game. I think we had about 10 minutes left on timer, 15 minutes left on timer. Either one of us could have started mid-game trying to time a stall, but neither of us actually did. We both kind of played relatively aggressively at the end. Like I said, his double into Lopunny was really aggressive. It definitely wasn't a timer play. And me staying in with Conkeldurr on his Reuniclus, same thing. It wasn't a timer play, it was an aggressive play. So neither of us tried to win it that way. Both of us went for this game. And unfortunately, your Bowland Bovines now 4-3-3. We do lose that one. I think it was a phenomenal game. I really do. I think his double into Lopunny at the end on my Mega Pinsir was an outstanding play, and that's the play, in my opinion, that won him the game. We definitely got unlucky on the roll on Reuniclus, but we definitely got lucky on the high jump kick miss from the Mega Lopunny. So it's kind of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other there. He might feel the hacks didn't balance out because he might feel that the miss was bigger, and I could definitely understand that. But for me, losing Conkeldurr at that point in the game, I was like, oh, damn it. That being said, both were misplays by me, right? I should have saved my Rotom and sacked that to rocks, and I should never have risked Conkeldurr there. I should always have gone Gren. The problem was Gren looked like such a good win con against his team. I just didn't want to risk it. So regardless, that's what it came down to. It really came down to the wire here. Exciting game. I still think he was probably Scarf Thunderous, but I don't know. I never actually asked him. You'll have to check out his side of the battle if you want to find that out. And that would have changed the end game too, because we might have struggled to ever beat Scarf Thunderous once Gligar went down. But regardless, I'm going to shut up rambling now. This one has definitely been a long one. This one will be like a 30-minute video, I bet. But still, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was definitely a big game for me. Like I said at the beginning of the video, a game that meant a lot to me as an individual, as a human being. It meant a lot to me, and it didn't disappoint. Hopefully we can still make playoffs. At 3-3, we still have a good shot at making playoffs. If we can put together, you know, a couple of back-to-back wins going into the last few weeks of the season, then I think we can tie it up. But definitely disappointed to lose this one. Hopefully we get to replay OPJellicent in playoffs. That would be fantastic. And yeah, with our trade, which should have been announced just before this. Hopefully you guys have seen the trade video. If you haven't, go and check out our trade video. But with that trade active for the next battle, that'll no doubt change the game and gives a different dynamic entirely. So regardless, I'm gonna shut up now. GG to my man at OPJellicent. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, guys, and I'll catch you again next time.